Listen carefully. You are exactly where you need to be. If this video reached you, know it wasn't by chance. The universe guided you here because it knows. You're ready for this message. There are moments in life that feel empty, moments when nothing around you seems to make sense. You wake up and the world seems distant, not just outside, but also inside. You keep going, but something inside you whispers, this isn't it. And perhaps you've already asked yourself quietly, why is this happening? Why can't I feel aligned anymore? If you're here listening, it's probably because that whisper has grown louder, and yet no answer has come. But what if I told you you're not lost? What if this confusion, this silence, isn't the end, but the entry point? What if life isn't falling apart? It's being rearranged in a pattern your eyes haven't learned to decode yet. Neuroscientist Karl Pribram once proposed something that forever changed how we see the brain and reality itself. He believed your brain doesn't simply record what happens, it constructs reality holographically. That means what you experience is not the whole picture, but a projection, a fragment. And fragments, by nature, feel incomplete, misleading, disorienting, but only until you step back far enough to see the full pattern. Trying to make sense of your life through a single painful moment is like trying to understand an entire symphony from just one dissonant note. You'll call it noise until you hear it in context. Then suddenly it becomes part of the music, of something beautiful, something designed. Greg Braden reminds us that ancient cultures never saw chaos as the enemy. They saw it as encoded order, hidden to the eye but not to the heart. They believed that behind every silence, behind every collapse, there is an intelligence, a wisdom, a pattern. So if everything feels unclear right now, if your heart feels heavy with questions, know this. Confusion is not a failure, it is a recalibration. You are not being punished, you are being repositioned. You are not falling behind, you are being invited to rise differently. And today, just for today, allow yourself to consider, what if the universe has not been silent? What if it's been speaking in a language you weren't taught to hear? Throughout this video, we'll journey deep into this possibility. You'll discover why everything that once felt random might in truth be part of something deeply intelligent, something sacred. We'll explore the hidden layers of perception, the unseen mechanisms of your subconscious, and the emotional signatures that shape what you call reality. But first, take a breath. Let your body soften. Let your heart quiet down. You don't have to understand everything right now. You just need to be present, open, curious. Because from this point forward, nothing will be quite the same. You'll begin to see why life paused you, why certain things left, why some doors never opened. And you'll start to recognize, maybe for the first time, that none of it was meaningless. And if this message already speaks to a part of you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who's searching for the same answers. Leave a comment with what has been weighing on your heart lately. You're not alone here. And if you feel called, subscribe and stay close. This space is for you. This is a place where confusion becomes clarity, one truth at a time. Let's begin. The invisible ache. When life stops making sense, something deeper is being reprogrammed. There's a strange ache that most people don't talk about. It isn't loud, it doesn't scream, but it lingers, like fog just beneath the skin. It shows up in the silence of the morning, in the heaviness before sleep. You're not who you used to be, but you don't know who you're becoming either. You look around and everything is still standing. Your job, your home, your daily routine. And yet inside, something has collapsed. This is the ache of transformation, and it's invisible to everyone else. Maybe lately you've felt disconnected from the people around you. You're having conversations, but they feel hollow. You're checking off tasks, but they bring no joy. You try to keep up appearances because you've been told it's just a phase, or maybe you're just tired. But deep down, you know this is something else. Something is shifting in the roots of your being, quietly, irreversibly. It's like being inside the shedding season of a snake. Vulnerable, confused, half blind. The skin that once protected you is now suffocating you. You can't go back to who you were, but there's no map forward either. This space between the old and the new is often mistaken for being lost. But what if it's not that? What if it's the precise space where your soul rewires itself? What if life is not punishing you with disorientation, but preparing you for a level of clarity you've never accessed before? See, real transformation isn't always a moment of sudden awakening. Sometimes it's a slow dismantling, a breaking down of what no longer belongs, a sacred unraveling of patterns, beliefs, and identities that once felt essential, but now feel heavy. And when that happens, when the inner architecture begins to dissolve, the external world often starts to lose its meaning too. You might feel disconnected from your goals, your relationships, even from your sense of purpose. But this disconnection is not emptiness. It's a space being cleared, a fertile silence being carved out, not for you to get lost in, but to plant something new, something truer, something freer. So if life no longer makes sense, perhaps that's because the old language no longer speaks for who you're becoming. And that's not a problem to fix. It's a path to follow, slowly, with reverence. If this resonates, if something in you just exhaled as you listened, know this: you're not broken, you're becoming, and you're not behind. You're exactly where the shedding needs you to be. And if you know someone walking through their own invisible ache, someone who's stopped talking about their pain because they think no one would understand, send this to them. Whisper through this message, you're not alone. Something sacred is happening. Let's keep going. The myth of clarity. Why the universe doesn't show you the full path. We live in a culture obsessed with clarity. We're taught to chase certainty like it's a reward for doing everything right, to know where we're going, to have the answers, to feel in control. But the truth is, the moments that shape you most, the ones that change everything, rarely arrive with instructions. They come wrapped in silence, in unpredictability, in not knowing what comes next. And that silence, that blank space between what was and what will be, can feel unbearable. But what if the lack of clarity isn't a sign of failure, but a deeper kind of intelligence? What if the universe isn't withholding answers from you, but training you to feel the truth before you see it? What if the path only becomes visible when your inner state becomes ready to walk it? The brain, according to neuroscience, is hardwired to seek patterns and predict outcomes. It's designed for survival, not surrender. It wants to know before it trusts. But the soul doesn't work that way. The soul trusts before it knows, and that's where the tension begins. When life enters a transition, when something old is closing and something new is trying to emerge, the mind will demand details. It will beg for clarity. It will interpret the unknown as danger. But your soul understands that real transformation doesn't come in a straight line. It unfolds like mist rising from the ground, slowly, without permission, and without explanation. Clarity in this way is not something you chase. It's something that arrives when you've surrendered the need for it. And that surrender isn't passive. It's not about giving up. It's about softening into the unknown with presence. It's about saying, I don't need to see the whole path to keep walking. I just need to be faithful to the next breath, the next step, the next yes. And sometimes the fog doesn't clear because it's protecting you. Because if you saw the full picture too soon, you might shrink back, you might resist. You might choose comfort over growth. The universe, in its wisdom, reveals things in fragments, not to confuse you, but to prepare you. There are seasons when you won't be able to plan, when your maps won't make sense, when your old logic won't apply. And in those seasons, it's not clarity that carries you. It's presence, it's breath, it's trust in something deeper than sight. So if you're standing in the middle of an invisible path, not knowing where it leads, not knowing who you're becoming, pause. Feel your feet on the ground. Remember that even when your mind feels blind, your soul is not. It sees, it knows, it's leading you. Let this be enough. For now, you don't need to see the whole picture. You only need to be who you are becoming, one quiet choice at a time. Hidden mechanism. How your subconscious blocks what your soul already paid you. Sometimes it's not life that's resisting you. It's you, or more precisely, a part of you that you can't yet see. A part that lives beneath the surface, quietly filtering every experience, every possibility, every fragment of reality through a lens you didn't even know you were wearing. There is a mechanism inside your brain called the reticular activating system. It decides what gets through your awareness and what doesn't. It's the gatekeeper of your perception. And what trains this gatekeeper is not your conscious goals. It's your emotional history. It's the unresolved echoes, the old disappointments, the fears you've tried to bury but still vibrate through your body. So even when your soul is asking for something deeply true, love, peace, expansion, your subconscious might still be scanning reality for proof of the opposite, proof that you'll be abandoned, proof that you'll fail, proof that life is hard or that change is unsafe. Not because you're broken, but because your system is still trying to protect you from something that already happened, and in a holographic model of reality, as proposed by Karl Pribram, this becomes even more important, because you're not just observing life, you're projecting it, you're filtering and forming it, moment by moment, based on the internal data you haven't yet upgraded. That means your life isn't always a mirror of what you want. It's often a mirror of what you still believe, especially when you're not aware of it. And those beliefs are like old code still running in the background, distorting the signals you send into the field. Imagine trying to manifest a new relationship while unconsciously expecting betrayal, or trying to call in abundance while still vibrating shame around receiving. On the surface, it looks like nothing is working, but underneath, your system is simply trying to keep you safe by repeating what's familiar. And yet, the soul doesn't speak in fear. It speaks in frequency. It's not asking you to fight your subconscious, but to bring it into awareness, to invite the hidden parts of you into coherence with what you're asking for. Because only when the inner software is updated can the holographic field reflect something new. So if it feels like you're calling out to the universe and hearing nothing back, pause. It's not that your desire is wrong. It might just be that a part of you is still whispering a different message underneath. And until both voices align, reality cannot respond clearly. This is not a flaw, it's an invitation to bring the unseen into light, to soften the protective programs, and to let your soul lead not from force, but from full alignment, quiet, honest, uncompromised, whole. Careful with the need to understand. It can delay the unfolding. There's a part of you that wants to solve everything, that reaches for answers like oxygen, that believes if you could just figure it out, just connect the dots, understand the why, then maybe you'd finally feel peace. But peace doesn't always come from understanding. Sometimes it only arrives when the need to understand dissolves. The human mind is wired to control, not out of ego, but out of fear. It wants to predict the future so it won't be hurt again. It wants to label what's happening so it can organize chaos. It believes that by making sense of the pain, it will somehow avoid feeling it. But the truth is, control is a form of resistance, and resistance creates friction, not just emotionally but energetically. The more you demand clarity from the unknown, the more you tighten your field. You stop receiving, you start grasping, and in that grasping, the unfolding slows down. It's like trying to force a flower to bloom by pulling its petals open. It looks like effort, but it causes damage, because blooming isn't mechanical, It's seasonal. It happens through timing, not tension. There's a sacred intelligence in what you don't yet understand. A reason why some answers are delayed, why some chapters remain unfinished, why some pieces don't yet fit. And that reason is not always meant to be known right now. Sometimes it's meant to be felt, to be lived, to be moved through, not solved like a puzzle, but surrendered to like a wave. The soul doesn't rush. It doesn't explain itself. It unfolds, slowly, patiently, and sometimes silently. What feels like delay may be alignment waiting for your energy to soften. What feels like confusion may be spaciousness for a deeper knowing to enter. And so the invitation is not to stop asking questions, but to loosen the grip, to trust that not all clarity is cognitive, that sometimes the truth reaches you through presence, not reasoning, through sensation, not thought. When you let go of the urgency to understand, something else begins to open, a wider awareness, a quieter knowing, the kind of wisdom that doesn't come from the mind, but from the body, from the field, from the space beyond words. And in that space, you stop chasing answers. You start receiving guidance, not all at once, but in fragments that find you when you're ready. So if you've been trying to figure it all out, if your mind has been looping, analyzing, searching, let it rest. Let the petals stay closed a little longer. The bloom is coming, not through pressure, but through peace, the silent frequency that shifts everything without effort. There is a state within you that doesn't chase, doesn't force, doesn't grasp, and yet it rearranges reality. It doesn't look like strategy. It doesn't sound like effort. It feels like stillness, like coherence, like a quiet alignment that moves faster than action ever could. It's the frequency you emit when your inner world stops fighting itself. In the field of neuroscience and consciousness, coherent emotional states like gratitude, compassion, and deep calm produce measurable patterns in the electromagnetic field of the heart. These patterns are not just emotional. They are vibrational signals, and they influence how you perceive reality and how reality responds. Neville Goddard once said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not just think about it, not visualize it from a distance, but become the version of yourself who already holds what you once longed for." And that state, that felt reality, begins to ripple outward into the field that surrounds you. This isn't magic, it's resonance, it's physics meeting the soul. Because the truth is, the universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to the emotional signal you hold when no one is watching, when you're still, when you're not performing for outcomes, when you're simply in coherence. And coherence doesn't always come from discipline. Sometimes it arrives when you stop trying so hard to make everything work, when you step back, when you breathe differently, when you feel something shift, not because circumstances changed, but because your body remembered what peace feels like. There is a story that echoes this truth. A woman tried for years to force alignment, journaling, scripting, affirming, doing all the right things, but always from a place of anxious striving. Nothing changed, until one day she stopped. Not out of defeat, but surrender. She started walking slowly in the mornings, breathing more, speaking less. She stopped chasing clarity and began listening to silence. Within weeks, pieces started falling into place, seemingly by accident. But it wasn't accident, it was alignment, born not from noise, but from frequency. This is the paradox. The more silent your energy becomes, the more loudly life responds. So when you find yourself efforting, fixing, pushing, return, not to a technique, but to the feeling beneath it all. What would it feel like to already be safe, already be whole, already be enough? That feeling, held long enough, becomes a silent broadcast, and life and time begins to match it, not through control, but through coherence, through trust, through frequency made visible. Why urgency creates distortion in your field. Urgency is a powerful force. It pushes, it demands, it grabs for results as if life were slipping through your fingers like sand. But urgency, no matter how sincere, creates tension. It scrambles the subtle frequencies your body and mind emit. It twists your electromagnetic signature into static, like trying to tune a radio station while shouting into the speaker. When you operate from urgency, your field becomes chaotic. Your nervous system goes into high alert. Your thoughts race, your heart pounds, and your breath shortens. This energetic turbulence doesn't invite clarity or flow. Instead, it produces resistance. It fractures your ability to receive and to align. Science shows us that emotional states are literally electromagnetic patterns. When you feel rushed or panicked, your brain waves shift to higher frequencies of stress. Your body produces chemicals that reinforce fight or flight reactions. Your cells tighten, contract, and close down. But when you move into calm readiness, something different happens. Your nervous system balances. Your heart generates a coherent electromagnetic field. Your body opens and relaxes. You become a clearer signal in the field of infinite possibilities. Calm readiness is not passivity. It is an active state of openness without attachment. It is saying, I am here, I am present, I am ready, but I do not control the timing. This is difficult because it goes against the human instinct to fix, to rush, to make things happen now. But the field does not respond well to force. It listens to vibration, not volume. The subtle art is to hold space for your desire with a soft hand, to cultivate presence without pressure, to trust that timing is not your enemy, but your ally. So when you feel urgency rising, pause. Feel the shift in your body. Notice how your energy contracts. Then breathe into spaciousness. Let the pressure melt into patience. Not the kind of waiting filled with anxiety, but the kind of waiting that is open, curious, and gentle. This shift will not only calm your nervous system, but will begin to rewrite the frequency you send into the universe. And in that rewriting, the dance of manifestation finds its rhythm again. The difference between scrambling and aligning may be as simple and as profound as the space you hold between your desire and your surrender. False alignment, the spiritual ego that sabotages manifestations. There's a subtle shadow that often hides behind spiritual practice. A kind of performative spirituality that feels real but lacks depth. It's the need to appear aligned, to say the right things, to do the right rituals without feeling the alignment inside. This is the realm of the spiritual ego. When spirituality becomes a mask, it creates a distortion in your field. It's like painting over a cracked wall. The cracks don't disappear. They just become hidden, ready to break open at the wrong moment. This false alignment feels like pretending to trust the universe, while inside you are still holding tight to fear, doubt, or impatience. The body knows this dissonance deeply. It feels it as tension, unease, or exhaustion. The heart's electromagnetic field loses coherence, sending mixed signals out into the field. True spirituality, the kind that moves mountains, is invisible. It's not about performance or validation. It's about congruence. It's about a quiet feeling in the body, a deep stillness in the mind, a humble acceptance in the heart. You may have experienced moments when you recited affirmations or followed rituals perfectly, yet nothing shifted. Or worse, you felt stuck, as if something was blocking you. This isn't failure, it's feedback. It's your field telling you that authenticity is required, not performance. To feel true trust, not the scripted kind, but the kind that ripples through your cells, you must go beyond the stories you tell. You must become intimate with your resistance. You must honor the doubts, the shadows, the parts that want to control. True trust is felt, not forced. It cannot be faked or rushed. It shows up as a quiet knowing, a gentle surrender that does not mean giving up, but giving space. It feels like coming home to yourself after a long journey. The path to manifestation is not through what you say, but through what you embody. When your inner landscape aligns with your desires, Without pretense, your vibration becomes a beacon. You stop trying to convince the world. Instead, the world begins to respond. This is the alchemy of true alignment, dropping the mask, feeling the truth, and letting the invisible pulse of your being guide the way. No performance, just presence. No ego, just soul. One mental model that rewires anxiety into alignment. Anxiety often feels like an enemy, an uncontrollable force pushing you toward overwhelm. But beneath that storm lies a message, a whisper from your deeper self trying to be heard. Anxiety is not your adversary. It is a messenger carrying the story of what you fear might be lost, undone, or never realized. When you begin to see anxiety this way, the energy around it shifts. It no longer dominates you, but invites you into dialogue. What part of you is afraid? What memory, what experience, what unresolved wound is being reactivated? These questions open a path from reaction to reflection. You are not the anxiety itself. You are the one who can witness it, listen to it, and respond with compassion. By recognizing the source of the fear, you begin to dissolve its power over your energy field. The process is simple, but profound. First, acknowledge the presence of fear without judgment, not as a weakness, but as a signal. Then, identify the story or memory that fuels it, the pattern that runs beneath your thoughts. Finally, speak to this version of yourself with words of safety, reassurance, and trust. This inner conversation rewires your emotional circuits. It reprograms the holographic lens through which you perceive your reality. Anxiety softens. Alignment emerges. This model is not about pushing anxiety away or pretending it doesn't exist. It is about embracing it as part of your journey, understanding its origin, and transforming its energy from resistance into acceptance. As your nervous system learns to hold space for this dialogue, your entire field shifts. You move from frantic control to calm readiness, from fragmentation to coherence. This rewiring opens the door to a new frequency, one where fear no longer blocks the path, but becomes a guidepost pointing toward deeper healing and growth. In this way, anxiety is no longer a barrier, but a bridge. A signal that the old patterns are ready to be seen, felt, and released. And when you move through that threshold, you step into a new rhythm, one aligned with the silent pulse of your true self. Look back with quantum eyes. The timeline always had order. When you look back at your life, the chaos of past events can feel like a tangled web, random, painful, without reason. Yet, from a quantum perspective, this apparent disorder is an illusion created by fragmented perception. Karl Pribram's holographic model teaches us that every moment is encoded with wisdom, even if hidden beneath the surface. It's as if life is written in invisible ink. You cannot read it in the moment, but as you step back, as you widen your view, the patterns emerge. The heartbreaks, the delays, the detours, they all fit together like tesserae in a mosaic, revealing a larger picture only visible from a distance. The pain you endured was not meaningless. The uncertainty you faced was not random. Each experience carried a vibration, a lesson, a quantum imprint designed to prepare you for what is to come. This reframing invites a shift in perception. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you begin to ask, "What was this moment preparing me for?" This subtle change in question opens your mind to deeper insight and your heart to greater compassion. Looking back with quantum eyes also frees you from the tyranny of linear time. It reveals that past, present, and future are interconnected layers of one holographic field. Your future is not separate from your past. It is woven within it, waiting to be realized through your present awareness. When you revisit your timeline this way, you start to see that the waiting was never wasted. The silence was never empty. The breaks, pauses, and setbacks were all essential elements of your unfolding. This is not to diminish the real pain you have experienced. Rather, It is to honor it by seeing beyond it, to perceive the hidden architecture of your life's design. When you do this, you begin to step out of victimhood and into the role of the conscious creator, holding the entirety of your story with grace. The invisible ink becomes visible. The fragmented notes compose a symphony. And you realize you were never off track. You were always in process, always part of a larger holographic harmony. The moment it clicks, when you stop seeking the sign and become the signal. There comes a turning point in every journey, a moment when the restless searching for external confirmation suddenly falls away. You realize that the signs you were chasing were never outside you. They were reflections of the signal you were broadcasting into the world. This shift from seeker to signal changes everything. You stop scanning the horizon for answers and start embodying the frequency that draws those answers near. It's no longer about chasing evidence or proof. It's about becoming the source of resonance that naturally attracts alignment. The principle of resonance is simple, yet profound. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are ready to hold. Your inner state, your emotional coherence, your subtle vibrations all send a message that the universe responds to. This is the invisible language of manifestation. Subtle signs begin to appear. You notice increased synchronicities, not random coincidences, but meaningful connections threading through your life like gentle whispers. You feel an inner calm that remains steady even as external chaos swirls. Intuitive nudges guide your steps, small yet unmistakable. This moment is not always dramatic. It can arrive softly, like a quiet dawn after a long night. It is the culmination of inner work, patience, and surrender, not the result of frantic effort. When you become the signal, you hold your energy with integrity and openness. You embody the feeling of your fulfilled desire with conviction, without forcing or controlling. Your presence itself becomes magnetic, drawing circumstances, people, and opportunities that reflect your new frequency. This is the alchemy of transformation, moving from fragmented wanting to whole being alignment, from chasing external validation to radiating inner certainty. It is the silent power behind every genuine manifestation, the moment when your energy shifts from asking, "Where is it?" to declaring, "I am ready." And in that readiness, the universe responds, not because you commanded it, but because you became a clear channel for the infinite possibilities already waiting to unfold. Nothing was random. It was just holographically hidden. As we come to this place of understanding, it becomes clear that nothing in your journey was random or meaningless. Instead, your experiences, your struggles, and your moments of silence were all part of a vast holographic design, one that your brain, your biology, and your consciousness are constantly decoding. Karl Pribram's insight reminds us that your brain is not a passive observer, but an active interpreter, weaving the patterns of reality from vibrational signals. What seems chaotic is often a projection of fragmented perception, waiting for the layers to come together. Dr. Bruce Lipton deepens this view by showing how your biology mirrors your perceptions. Your cells respond not just to chemical signals, but to your beliefs, emotions, and energetic patterns. When your perception shifts, your entire body begins to realign. Healing and transformation emerge from this intimate dialogue between mind and body. This means that every heartbreak, every delay, every silence was not punishment or failure. It was preparation, a necessary phase in which your system was recalibrating, your consciousness expanding, and your vibration evolving. Like stepping back from a mosaic, the art of your life only reveals itself fully when seen from a distance. The colors, the shapes, the contrasts, all form a meaningful whole, even if individual pieces once felt broken or incomplete. This final realization is not a conclusion, but an invitation to pause, to trust the data beyond the visible, to hold space for the unseen patterns that are unfolding beneath your awareness. You are not late. You are not lost. You are simply moving through a different layer of the cosmic design, a layer where patience, presence, and inner clarity become your guides. The universe is not silent. It has been waiting for you to decode its language. Now you see that the silence was never empty. It was holographically hidden, waiting for the moment when you could hold the whole picture. And that moment is now. You have traveled through the unseen layers, unraveling the invisible threads that weave your life's story. Karl Pribram's vision of the brain as a holographic decoder invites you to understand that your reality is not fixed, but continuously interpreted, a living, breathing tapestry shaped by perception and vibration. Dr. Bruce Lipton's work reveals that your biology mirrors your beliefs and perceptions. Change your inner landscape, and your cells, your health, and your very life follow in harmony. This is not metaphor. It is the profound science of your body responding to the stories you hold. Remember the heartbreak you endured, the silence that seemed endless, and the moments of waiting were not punishments or mistakes. They were preparation, an intricate phase of recalibration, growth, and awakening. Like a mosaic, your life's meaning becomes visible only when you step back far enough to see the whole. So now, pause. Breathe deeply. Trust the patterns that unfold beyond what your eyes can see. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be. In a deeper layer of the unfolding cosmic design, the universe is not silent. It is speaking through subtle frequencies and gentle nudges. You are learning its language. And this moment, this very moment, is your invitation to listen, to align, and to become the conscious creator of your reality. You are seen, you are understood, and you are always profoundly connected.